Hi folks, Gamerbug here again, and I decided to do something a bit different. This video for the Black Death, it's been quite a mammoth task actually, is going to be me covering all of the weapons, outfits and armour that are currently available in the Black Death in the current build. Now I think I've tracked down all of them. I have looked high and low for everything, and I know the ones that were in the game that I cannot find whatsoever, so I'll discuss those at the time. This has been quite an undertaking. Yes, it's done on my private server, and yep, don't get me wrong, I use console commands to get me stuff quicker, but there's only so much that'll do for you. It'll give you gold, experience, and it will give you the ability to fly, which doesn't really help that much. You still have to gather everything to actually get your hands on the stuff to craft it, to make it. That doesn't change. There's no way to speed that up. I had done this in 0.19 and the game was wiped. There was an announcement that there was going to be a wipe in the future at some point, and people kept asking and asking, when's the wipe, when's the wipe, when's the wipe, and we got nothing. So rather than do nothing, I thought I'd have a go at actually doing this video. And I literally got everything ready. I'd got every recipe, I'd crafted every piece of armour, and I began to record it, and I only had time to do it in small chunks, and they wiped it. So I started again. This should have been out weeks ago, but unfortunately it's taken so long, real life and stuff. Hopefully everyone will enjoy this. So let's get on with the show. I'm going to try and do as much as I can in the night and during the day. I have, if you look around, a bunch of guards. These guards do actually give a fair amount of light, meaning that you can see the outfits pretty well, especially this guy in here. You can actually see really well in this room. So we're going to start with clothing, and then we'll move on to armor, and we'll probably mix and match the weapons in, and any that are left outstanding at the end we'll probably do them then. So let's get on with it. Okay, so the first outfit is the peasant's cloak and the wicker hat, which you can see on my head, and I've paired it up with the most basic weapon you can get, which is the stick club. So, the peasant's cloak, there's nothing really wrong with this, but there's no massive benefit to ever bothering with it. From a role-playing perspective, I guess it's kind of fine. This outfit by default doesn't come with any trousers, so the trousers are whatever your base character has. Now, the thing about this is you're going to craft it, you're going to wear it, and it's got a weight. So, though there will be a degree, I believe, because currently in the game there's no way to say what armour does protective wise or what weapons do damage wise. It's just not in the game at the moment. It used to be, got taken out. I assume that any piece of clothing is going to give a little bit more protection than none, but it's not going to be really noticeable. So whether you choose to wear this is really for RP purposes. The design is fine. There's a bit of bleeding on the design on that hands there, as you can see. But other than that, it sort of works. The bag doesn't really work with anything, so don't worry about that too much. And this is part of the peasant skill line. And this is along with the wicker hat. Both of them you can only craft. You cannot buy them, and you cannot find them or get them off dead bodies. So the wicker hat, yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I don't really feel it fits the game too well. I've had other characters try it and their head bled through. This character seems to do quite well with the majority of outfits. It just looks a bit silly. I don't like it that much. I mean, the actual sort of design is fine. There's no glaring issues, but as I say, there's bleeding issues depending on the character, especially ones with hair. It's part of the peasant skill line, and again, you have to craft it. There is no other way to get your hands on one. So that's the basic peasant outfit. I'm going to call those the most basic outfits you can get, but that's only because it's under the peasant line. So there's, we've got the stick club, which is the most basic weapon in the game. So let's draw it and have a little nosy at it. It's a bit blurry, unfortunately, when you draw a weapon, so it's hard to see it, but there is an angle you can kind of see quite clearly there. It's alright. It will serve you really well throughout the game. Currently, there's no real reason that you shouldn't carry one of these and use it a lot, and they're easy to craft. You can find rare sticks really well, plenty of places, and they last a good amount of time. They do enough damage, and they're cheap. I think the design of them's absolutely fine. The little wrap around the bottom of it, no problems with that. Yes, it's probably the lowest damage you can do in the game, apart from your fists, but it does the job. It does the job absolutely fine. It can block anything. So yeah, there you have it. Peasant cloak, wicker hat, and the stick club. So the next outfit is the cook's apron, which is from the cook skill line. It's the only piece of clothing in the cook skill line, and it has a ridiculous requirement for materials. It's something like 8 or so cloth and some leather, and that's really sort of time consuming and boring. That said, it looks fine, and I think this apron works well for shopkeep kind of people. It would actually work for a doctor. It works obviously for a cook. It could work for a craftsman. So there's no real problems with it. Again, this does not come with any specific trousers, but you could pair it up with whatever you want. On my head, I have a cloth coif. So the coif is also, as far as I know, craftable only, and this comes from the artisan skill line. I'm not a big fan of the coifs in this game. They look a bit silly, but they are traditional and people would have worn them. There's a slight bleed issue, as you can see, with the ear there, whereas you can see there's no bleed issues really whatsoever with the apron. But all in all, it looks fine. There's no massive issues with it, depending on what you want to look like. I paired these two up because I think they go quite nicely together. They actually sort of play off one another very well. On my back, I am wearing a wooden sword. Now, I have absolutely no idea of the damage of the wooden sword. It looks alright in a strange, like it wouldn't actually do any damage kind of way. It looks like a children's toy, basically. Now, the wooden sword is only purchasable, and you can only purchase it from what I'm going to describe as militia shopkeepers. These basically are, there's a guy, he's sort of wearing an orange and black tabard with a sort of poofy hat. He appears next to an orange and black tent, and there will be 2 guards with similar colours on as him. It's a completely random encounter, but they sell these swords. I've yet to find one in better quality than awful, but they do sell them, and that's the only place you're going to get your hands on one of these wooden swords. I wouldn't probably advise taking these into a fight, because they're not going to do a great deal more damage than a stick club, but they're going to break probably quite fast as well. But that's the wooden sword. As I say, there is only one place to get it, from the militia shopkeep. Okay, so we've moved outside, it's daytime, and next up we have the blacksmith's apron, which I've paired with a variety of things which I'll go through as well. Again, this is only craftable. It looks absolutely fine. I think it looks quite swanky. Big fan of it personally. It goes really well as a blacksmith or any kind of sort of crafting profession. I've paired it up with a leather coif, which though I'm not a massive fan of, it sort of works again with the outfit. It's still got a slight bleeding issue on the ear, as you can see there, but overridingly looks pretty cool. We also have leather gloves on with this, which really I think sort of set the outfit off quite nicely. The leather gloves match the coif nicely, but the leather apron looks a little bit too shiny and clean in comparison. And I've also paired this up with leather trousers that you can see there. These are all, a lot of these are part of the hunter's class, and there is armour that goes with them, but I do like this as an outfit overridingly. All of this is craftable only, apart from the leather coif, which you can buy. I believe you I know you can buy it from the woodsman merchants. I think maybe the hunter merchants, but you can definitely buy the leather coif. The rest of the outfit is purchasable, is not purchasable, is not findable, it is craftable only. The apron is part of the artisan skill line. The gloves and the boots are both part of the hunter skill line. You can also craft the leather coif as part of the hunter skill line. So let's whip out the hammer. So this is the iron maul, which when crafted suddenly becomes a silver maul, even though it doesn't look very silver. It does a good whack of damage. It is absolutely brilliant for taking down doors on dungeons, and it does well in a fight, but you really probably want to carry this and a different weapon because you're going to need this to get through those doors, and you'd be amazed how fast it can actually lose its durability. But as I say, it copes very well in a fight, and it is actually very strong. I don't like the design of it particularly. I think the top is way too heavy and wouldn't make a great deal of sense. I think it would be difficult to swing. It probably should be two-handed, but as you can see I've got a one-handed pose on with this. But there's no real problems with it. It's a little bit fantastic looking in some senses, but overridingly it does the job. I paired it up with this as I thought it does pretty neatly with the blacksmith. You can only craft that weapon now. You used to be able to buy them. That has now been removed due to the fact they felt that people could just sort of spam it, which was absolutely true. So now these are craftable only. So there you have it. What I would call a pretty nifty looking blacksmith outfit. The only thing that isn't, well, you can get besides crafting is the coif. So next up we have the hunter's tunic, which you can see here, and another outfit I really do like. It looks cool. It suits obviously all the leather stuff very well, which I'm still wearing. I've paired it up with a leather helmet, and I've paired it up with the stone spear as well. Now this tunic, like I say, there's no problems with this. It works really well. It looks good. It looks like it's made of furs and leather. It's a bit tatty. I think it suits sort of hunters and rural characters brilliantly. I do like it a lot. Protection, unknown, low, I would say. The helmet, which I've paired up here, you could obviously wear no helmet, or you could wear that coif I wore before, is purchasable only. You cannot craft it. I purchased it from, I don't know if it was the militia merchant, but very possibly was the militia merchant actually. I think that may well have been it. I think as well there are, well again they're sort of militiamen that will pop up every now and again. They're wearing this helmet pretty much, and they'll help you usually fight night bandits. You can actually speak to those and get, you can use them as a shop. They may sell these, but I've yet to actually get one and speak to him as a shopkeeper, because the bandits seem to kill them very fast, whereas before it was, they would kill them, but it would take a lot longer if you didn't help. It looks fine, looks pretty good. Whether it goes with this, not entirely too sure, but there you have it. Paired it up with the stone spear, which I think looks pretty damn cool. I don't think that the head would actually work the way that it's been done in this game. I think it would probably just snap off or fall off. But overridingly, I love spears, and this works quite nicely. It is one-handed. That's not to say spears were not one-handed. Spears and shields were very common, and you can use a spear and a shield in this game. But how you fight with it, I wouldn't say is very typical of a spear. Demonstrate. You wouldn't really do that sort of fighting with a spear. This you would jab a lot, jab and stab. That's the main purpose of a spear, overridingly. So the fact that that is like this big wind-up attack, but normally you just do this, is a bit of a strange one. But it's just a holdover that the swords and everything pretty much are the same. So yeah, I do like this though. I think it's a very worthwhile craftable weapon. Easy to craft. Does take thread, which I think, was it string? I can't remember. Either way, I'm not a fan of like the resources required, but overridingly it's a good weapon. It's not too resource intensive. Yeah, I like it. Nice design too. So yeah, this is part of the militia skill line, and you can only craft them. You cannot buy them or find them. So next up we have the artisan's tunic and hat. This used to be the merchant's tunic and hat, and it used to have merchant trousers with it, which is very strange because it doesn't. Now, for some reason the game has glitched out and given me militia trousers, which may well have been merchant trousers before. I'm not entirely sure, but it's given me the militiaman trousers like as a default, which is strange. The outfit itself is fine. There's no real terrible bleeding or anything like that through on it. It works. I don't like the hat. It should probably be a similar colour to the actual rest of it, but I suppose big foppish hats like that were fairly common back then. It's an okay outfit. You might want to be wary as to whatever the trousers are you've paired it up with, and like I say, it's strange the game seems to have glitched. Instead of having the trousers I had on as like a base layer, it's given me the militia trousers as a base layer. I've paired it up with the Dirk dagger, probably because it's the closest thing to the Crusader dagger, which used to be the one thing that merchants could craft that was awesome. And now that's not even in the game, it would appear. I haven't found it anywhere personally. It's a shame because it was a nice dagger. Bleeding has now occurred in my guy's arms, as you noticed. This dagger looks garbage. It looks like it's rusted to hell, and basically looks like, I would describe it as, I don't know, some cheap shank you might make or something. It looks like a giant nail with a bit of grip on it. And I'm also not a fan of the way that they hold it. This whole dagger down thing, I'm not saying it wasn't done as a fighting style, but really you want to fight with your dagger for stabbing purposes. That's what they were made for. And to stab really well with the dagger, you hold it so it's facing the opposite way this one is. This is really made for slashing, and daggers aren't really the best thing for slashing in comparison to stabbing. That's what they're really made for. Anyway, you cannot buy the Dirk dagger, you have to craft it. It's part of the hunter skill line, and the other things you cannot buy or find. Again, you have to craft them as part of the artisan skill line. Let's get inside where it's light. So next up we have the royal tunic and the crown. I like the royal tunic, it looks really good. A bit of bleeding as you can see on the wrists, not so great in that sense, but the overall look of it is, yeah, I like it a lot. It's pretty cool. It does go very well with some of the trousers you can pick initially, especially the black ones. But as I say, the game's glitched out and given me militia trousers for no real reason. I've not even worn any yet. But I'll live with that. I like it. Nice colours. Shame you can't do it in more colours than this. They used to have dyes in the game, and maybe that was a thing. The belt looks good. It does look quite posh, and I feel quite regal wearing it, like a part of the nobility. The crown tops it off nicely, but I think the crown looks a bit crappy, cheap. Yeah, it doesn't look particularly awesome. It doesn't work too well with people with hairstyles as well, beyond the sort of buzz cut. But it's alright, there's no real problems with it. Both of these, well, I say both are craftable only. You used to be able to find crowns in the game, and you may still be able to. So I'm going to hold off and say that may be fine. You may be able to find crowns. But they are certainly craftable as well. And they are part, I think, of the artisan skill line. The tunic is definitely part of the artisan skill line, and you can only craft it. It cannot be bought or found anywhere. On my back, as I thought it pairs beautifully with this, is the longsword. The longsword is only purchasable, which is a strange thing in my opinion, as it is the most basic looking sword in the game, but it looks really nice. It is a basic standard arming sword. Now, the only place to get hold of this, and let's pop it out to have a good look, is from the militia merchants I described, who have the orange and black and near an orange and black tent. They sell this. I haven't seen it in anything other than awful quality, but that's not to say they don't sell it in better quality. I really like this sword. It looks great, and I wish that you could craft it, especially as the other option is the iron sword, which we'll cover later. All in all, I think it's a lovely sword, but as I say, the only place to get it is from those militia guys. Nowhere else sells this weapon, and you cannot craft it or find it. Here we have the cloth robe. It's not called monk's robe anymore, it's called cloth or cotton robe. I can't remember which actually off the top of my head. And we have one of the plague masks. This is the pelt plague mask. I've also paired it up with a stone warhammer because, I don't know, monks and warhammers sort of make sense if you go by RPG tropes, at least maces and things. There used to be maces in the game, by the way. For some reason they were removed, although you may actually see enemies wield them still. Can't remember if that's actually the case or not. Anyway, the robe itself looks absolutely fine, and if you're having a monk character or a sort of plague doctor character, it kind of works. As I say, the cook's apron could work in that sense as well, and I suppose if you had this with a cook's apron, that hat, it would look quite creepy. There is a terrible bleeding issue. Let me just step forward slightly around the back side of this. It seems worse when you don't have a weapon attached, but yeah, there's quite a bit of bleeding that happens at the back of the cloak. Other than that, I mean, it looks generally fine. I think it looks cool. We also have two different masks that works with this. So we have the pelt plague mask that has a sort of weird stripy reddish, I don't know what you want to call it, eyes. The mask itself is a bit lighter grey, it's more brown on the back of it as well. But there is a leather one that you can also make, which we will quickly pop on now. Ta-da! I'm not sure which one looks creepier. I don't know. This is much darker looking, especially at the back, very black. The leather at the front is much darker. The eyes are sort of lighter. They don't have that same sort of look to them. I'm not sure if the beak look is smaller or not. There's less bleeding on this one, but there's still some. You can sort of see my ear a bit there. The other one, the ears do bleed through quite badly at times. But yeah, I mean, it's the monk outfit. If you're going to be a plague doctor, you're going to chuck this on, really. It'd probably be quite good if you want to just look a bit freaky and scary. I mean, this with plate armour would actually look quite menacing, I think. So let's have a look at the stone warhammer. What do I think of it? Well, let's literally look at it. It is stupid. It looks awful. It wouldn't work. It would literally fall apart as soon as it struck anything, assuming it didn't fall apart under its own weight as it was swung. The actual, you can see it there, just to walk forward a bit, but the actual stone isn't really attached. You wouldn't attach stone to something like that. You would wrap it above and around the top of the stone. The sticks that are a part of it, and there's 3 of them according to this. What the hell? This is just a dumb weapon design. I mean, it does well as a weapon. There's no problems with it in game terms. It just looks stupid and unrealistic. It would just break, assuming you could wield it, because a stone that size on the top of it wouldn't probably be all that wieldy. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of this at all, and I don't think I've ever crafted one apart from once to see what it looked like and what the damage was. And obviously here you can buy them. You can actually buy these. There is a merchant in there is one in Dunstead, but I don't know if that's a glitch because it seems like there's 2 blacksmiths there for me, and there is a blacksmith, I don't know the name of the place off the top of my head. It's on the very north shore. There's an encampment, and there's a trader, and there is you know what, let's bring the map up. Govin's Head. There you go. Govin's Head. There is a blacksmith there that sells basically iron swords and these stone warhammers. That's it. That's all they sell. Don't know why that's all he sells, and for some reason he's replicated exactly in Dunstead for me. I don't know why. So yeah, you can buy this and you can craft it, but you cannot find it. The other stuff is craftable only as part of the Plague Doctor, Monk, whatever you want to call it, skill line, and the Warhammer is part of the Militia skill line. So there you have it. That's the Plague Doctor. So it's daytime again, and we have decided that we're going to pop on the Militia outfit. What I can explain here is how the trousers I said, because I'm actually now wearing Militia trousers, that my base character has decided that he's going to wear them all the time now as well, which is weird. I believe it's also happened with my top. So when I'm not wearing these, literally not wearing them, my character still looks like he is. I wouldn't get any of the benefit, the armor benefits, I guess, but it still looks like I'm wearing it, which, to be fair, is it's one of my favorite outfits. I ain't going to complain about. I like this outfit a lot. It's just a lovely, basic sort of set of clothes. It looks nice. It's well designed. No real bleeding issues too much. Simple colours. It's got a pair of trousers and a top for it. So yeah, I just like this. It's part of the Militia skill line, and yeah, I just think it's a lovely outfit. I couldn't tell you the armor benefits of it. I think it was fairly low, if I'm perfectly honest, but yeah, it just looks nice. Now, I believe you can buy a Militia shirt. I'm not sure about the trousers. From the same Militia merchants, the orange and black dressed ones that I said earlier. They're the only people I believe that do sell them though. What I've paired it up with is a German battle axe. You can buy these, you cannot craft them. There is two places I know that you can buy them. Both of them are called traders. They wear white. One is at Govin's Head and one is at Dunstead, and they sell all the battle axes or axes in the game, and they sell weirdly some sickles, and that is it. So basically anything with a curvy blade that isn't a sword. Let's pop it out and have a look at it. Damage wise, I literally have no idea. I haven't really taken this to anybody's head. I forgot the battle axes were even in the game. I think they were taken out for a while and then maybe put back in. It looks alright. I have no real issues with this weapon at all. The head is not too large. It has a spike on the end of it, which is good. You would probably want one of them on an axe. Probably could do with a bit more detailing as to how it's staying on this thing. But other than that, you know, maybe a bit more like some leather or something on the handle, but it's not massively important. The wood looks well finished. I like this. I like it a lot. I think it looks cool. Very simple. If I had a sort of woodsman-y character, I'd probably be more likely to have it. It is strange how he draws it and stands with it, because it seems to be head up. That said, you wouldn't obviously draw a weapon over your shoulder like that anyway, because it would typically be too tall. You would just swing it round your shoulder of your arm, pop it into your hands. Assuming you didn't just carry it anyway. Basically, it'd be similar to sort of carrying a guitar on your back. You wouldn't ever pull it over your shoulder, you just pop it off. So there you have it. That's the Militia outfit. I like this one a lot. I think it looks cool. I'm going to show off an alternative now, which is this. I put this together because I feel it's almost the same idea, but this is more dressy. So I've still got the Militia trousers on, which I think work quite well with it. This is basically a cloth tabard. It looks alright. I'm not a massive fan of it myself, but if you want to have that sort of Templar or Knight's Order kind of look, there you have it. Obviously it's not particularly protective, but it will offer a degree of protection, very limited though. What I don't like is it really makes it look like I'm wearing some bulky armour underneath. There's a bit of bleeding, as you can see, under the arm there, which I'm not. Some of the other armours like this, these tabard armours, make sense because you imagine that the armour actually underneath is bulky, but this doesn't. So I have a very insane looking chest and back, but it's a nice enough little number. And if you wanted to say this is sort of my day-to-day outfit if I was a member of an order, whereas it's not armour, I wouldn't wear armour all the time, nobody would, it would be insane, then there you go. I've paired it up with a bearded battle axe, which has a strange handle. The axe itself I don't really have any issues with. It looks sort of a bit like a woodsman's axe really in some senses. The handle's just a bit of a strange one. The weird little curve in it. The fact it's so sort of thin looking. If you're going to go out of your way to make something aesthetically, or should I say ergonomically impressive to hold, which I guess is what they're trying with this, you'd probably then put a bit of leather down the bottom to keep your hands from getting splinters, but I've got no real complaints against it. The weapon itself, like all the axes you can buy from the trader in Govan's Head and from Dunstead, the tabard you can only craft as part of the militia skill line. You can't find it or purchase it anywhere. So next up we have the gambeson, or padded armour, padded tunic and padded legs. You can see the legs there. Gambesons were amazing pieces of ingenuity when it came to armour. Yes, they were worn under sort of chain and plate, but they were in their own right a fantastic defence. So much so that many people wore them on their own. They were just so good at stopping blades. Generally speaking, you know, they were thick layers of padded cotton, well sewn together, that piercing them wasn't that easy. Slashing against them was even worse. An axe or something would probably do a pretty good number on them, don't get me wrong, but a sword, you know, or a dagger, you actually had some pretty damn good protection on yourself here. That said, the game really doesn't give it the deserved attention that it should have for the type of armour it is, but it looks nice. The trousers look fine, got no problems with them. The strange knee patches are a little bit odd, but fair enough. There's no real issues with this. The only problem I actually have with it is the neck. I don't know what's going on there. It looks like I'm just wearing a strange cloth choker. It's not actually attached by the looks of it. Or if it is, it's by a teeny tiny bit at the back there. So I don't really know what's going on with that, and that probably could have been better designed. But beyond that, yeah, it's fine. I mean, really, just take that bit off. You probably would have had neck protection, don't get me wrong, but I would just have taken it off. On my back, I'm wielding the stone battle axe that looks, in my opinion, a lot more like it's made of rusty iron than stone. Opinions will vary on that. I mean, the rest of it sort of makes sense, I guess. It is basically a haft with a blade on the end, but it looks crap. And it looks like I say, it does not look like stone to me. Maybe a bit more there, but to me it looks like rusty iron. That's what it looks like. And I just don't like it all that much. If there was a shiny version of it, I'd probably be happier. I mean, the gist of it is fine. I don't know the damage of it, if I'm perfectly honest. So the gambeson and the leggings you can only craft as part of the artisan skill line. The axe you can only buy at the blacksmith in Govan's Head, and if the weird duplication has happened, the blacksmith in Dunstead. So they're the only places. They're the only three axes, as I've already shown you in the game, and you can get them all from the same guy. So night time's upon us again, and we have gone this time with the bandit outfit. So this is again clothing. I've not gone into what I would call true armour, with the exception of the gambeson. So this actually is all the bandit outfit now, but it used to be a lot of it the beggar outfit. It was the clothing that the beggar himself could craft. So the beggar could craft the tunic, some trousers, and a set of gloves. For some reason it gives you really dirty feet, the trousers. The gloves are actually craftable as part of the artisan skill line, cotton gloves, but you can find them quite easily on dead bandits. The bandana is part of the bandit skill line. You can craft it, but again you can find it on dead bandits quite easily. The trousers cannot be crafted, but again can be found on dead bandits, and the same is true of the bandit tunic which I'm wearing, which used to be the beggar's tunic, and again that can now only be found on bandits. And I found that the plagued bandits, they cough a lot, they look like zombies a bit, have that more often than any of the other ones. The gloves, the face mask and the trousers, bit more common on all of them. On my back, I've paired it up with a bone club, which is also very easy to find on any bandit, and it is also craftable as part of the bandit skill line. So do I like it? Well, you know what? It's not a bad little outfit if it wasn't for those strange trousers with the black feet. They just look so weird. I'm just not a fan at all. It's a shame, and I'd rather they actually had shoes on. But the rest of it, yeah, it looks like a sort of thief slash rogue slash bad guy kind of thing. The bones club, well, that's a different thing altogether. You're basically wielding an actual leg bone or something with a bit of tape around it. The only reason to craft these is experience points or cash. They're a bit better than a stick club, but not really enough to warrant going out of your way for them. You do come across quite a few bones in the game when you kill bandits or animals, so banging them together to like make a club and selling it for a bit of cash, like 30 gold or so, is worthwhile. But besides that, meh, looks stupid. There are a bunch of alternatives to the bandit, so let's have a little look at those. So this is what I would call the bandit alternative. There used to be a lot more, there are less now. So basically I'm wearing some sort of disgusting looking hide tunic, which is craftable as part of the bandit skill line. You can't find this one. You will see it on bandits though. I've still got the gloves on, still got the trousers on, and I'm wearing a skull helmet. I really don't like the top. It just looks grim. It just looks like there's bits of entrails still hanging off it. And I don't think it looks imposing. It just looks like someone's a bit grim and hasn't actually washed it. The helmet's not too bad. It's weird and I'm not a fan of it personally, but I can imagine wearing it as like with other armour, with other things, even the hunter's outfits and stuff. I think would look quite cool with it. So I like that. I think it's sort of fine. Like I said, not for me, but I do like the sort of aesthetics of it. I can imagine why somebody might want to wear it. On my back we are sporting a bone dagger, which looks fine. I'm not really sure whether it would work or not, and of course it's held in the sort of what I will call gangster style for fighting. Suppose it's alright. I'd still want to have it the other way around for stabbing. Don't hate it. So the skull helmet is purchasable, is craftable only, sorry. Part of the bandit skill line. The tunic, craftable only. The bone dagger, you can actually buy those from, I believe, hunter merchants, but definitely the woodsman merchant sells that. So yes. Quickly thought I'd talk about the bone spear, which is also part of the bandit skill line now. It used to be part of the hunter's class. I like this spear a lot. I'm not sure it would work, but I do like it. I don't think that's actually bound on tightly enough. It's probably the nicest looking spear in the game, although I like most of them. Can be used with a shield, can be used on its own. Yeah, I just like it. I think it looks nice. It's fairly strong. You can buy them from the militia merchants, the orange and blacks again, and you can make it, as I say, as part of the bandit skill line. There's one more bandit weapon I want to cover here, because any range weapons I'm going to cover later specifically. And this is the weapon I wanted to talk about, the Kopesh or Kopesh. It's only found on, I think they're called dread knights or something, basically really high tiered bandits that are found in the catacombs or raid areas. It's a nice looking weapon. You know, it's well designed. They've put a bit of man hours into making it look pretty. And yes, it's a real weapon. It did exist. But it existed in like ancient Egypt. meaning what it's doing in sort of medieval Europe, I'm no idea. Especially as there seem to be a lot of them, and they're in rather good nick. It does a fair whack of damage, don't get me wrong, but you tend not to find them in any status other than awful. And as you can't make them, you can only find them. The best thing about them is either a throwaway weapon when you don't want to use your actual weapon, or to sell, which they do sell for a fair whack. But besides that, the people that actually carry them are so easy to avoid, you may as well just avoid them. That said, if they do clock you with one, it bloody hurts. While I'm here though, just to discuss, there used to be 2 more tunics that you could make for the bandits, a light and a heavy one. You can still see them worn in the game today. There's like knights that sort of wear them, bandit knights, and there's a bandit that I think he has a mace in his hand, and he has the lighter version. I've not found them anywhere in the game, and they were part of the bandit professions crafting. So why they were removed, I don't know. They looked really, really cool. They were the only good thing about the class, along with what was called the Great Helm, which was a very big, almost like, well, it was a great helmet. It was like a boxy sort of looking helmet, a big plate one. Now, again, they're worn by the knights. You can't actually make those, and I haven't found them. I've killed every type of bandit in the game, and they don't drop. So unless they are potentially sometimes show up on those militias that I spoke about so many times, which they did used to, then I don't think that they're actually in the game anymore, at least not for players. Which is a shame, because they were probably some of the best things about the bandits. And I probably would have gone quite nice with that Kopesh as well. So yeah, they're not actually in the game anymore, as far as I'm aware.